Honourable members' prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech Thee to look with favour upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in Thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, Thou members of Parliament and Ministers of State with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labours of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and Thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbour, country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honour shall be given to the deserving, country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honourable members, we commence with the correction of votes and proceedings of the 23rd sitting dated Monday, December 4th, 2023. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Page 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page 14. Page 15. Page 16, page 17. Honourable members, in the absence of any corrections, the votes and proceedings of the 23rd sitting dated Monday, December 4th, 2023 are adopted as a true record of proceedings. Honourable members, today we have a large number of visitors from various schools in the Greater Accra region mostly. The first I have on the list is St. James Preparatory School in the Tema West constituency. They are led by Mr. F.G. Akpade, who is the head teacher. You're welcome to Parliament. The next is the Daniel's Classic School International. They are also led by Mr. David Kofi Anderson, who is the head teacher. They are from Tema West constituency. You're welcome. Then I have one from the Eastern region, Asiakwa RC Basic School. They are led by their teacher, Mr. Estelle Daniel Blankson. You're welcome from Asiakwa. Then there's the Medina Islamic School. They're led by their teacher, Mr. Ebenezer Abuaje. They are from the Guantanang constituency. Yes, the MP is here. You're welcome to Parliament. Then I have the IPEL International School. They are led by Mr. Larry Morris. He's a teacher at the school from Guantanang, and I welcome you to Parliament. There's also Pantan Presby School. They are led by the head teacher, Madam Martha N. Beve. You're welcome to Parliament. Then there is the Blessed Queens and Kings Academy. They are led by the head teacher, Madam Priscilla Bole Mensa, from the Tama West constituency. You're welcome to Parliament. Honourable members, I move to item 5, questions. I'm informed that the Minister for Communication has written formally to request that her questions be rescheduled. So we'll move on to the Minister for Railways, who will ask questions starting from question 1538. Question 1538. Question 1538 is in the name of the Honourable Member for Clotte Colley, Dr. Zanito Ajiman Rollins. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I have authority to seek permission from you and to ask the question on her behalf.
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Railways Development when details of the Ministry's plans for the CMB Abuja market, the Central Business District, will be made available, given that private individuals have presented documents claiming ownership of the several plots of the land that belongs to the state. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this same question was asked in the House some time ago, but since it was again admitted, I'll quickly go ahead to respond. Mr. Speaker, in 2002, prior to the Railway Act at 2008 at 779, when the railway assets were transferred from the Ghana Railway Company to the Ghana Railway Development Authority, GRDA, GRCL prepared a planning scheme for Accra Central Area, generally referred to as the CMB Abuja market. Mr. Speaker, the planning scheme at that time was approved by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and the Town and Country Planning Department. As per the planning scheme, Mr. Speaker, for the Accra Central Area, generally referred to as Abuja Market, was not earmarked for a market. The approved planning scheme covers an area of 14 acres. Approximately 30 private developers have applied for a lease and were granted terms of the lease for specific time periods. A condition of the lease, Mr. Speaker, was for the developers to get approval or consent from GRDA before the start and development of the project. Mr. Speaker, in the past, the traders who occupied various sections at the said locations within the approved scheme do not hold lease and were therefore considered as encroachers. Initially, Ghana Railway Company Limited and then Ghana Railway Development Authority were collecting ground rents from the encroachers for temporary use of the land. Mr. Speaker, the collection of these ground rents, however, ceased in the year 2017. The developers with leases from GRDA are yet to apply for consent to develop the land in question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable.
Can you put it off? Sorry. That's okay, that's okay. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to find out from the Minister whether he's disputing the fact that some people are claiming ownership of the land.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, not at all. It's true that some people are claiming ownership of the land, but ownership to a government land will have to come with title. The basis of those ownership cannot be proved with any documentation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, so I want to find out from the Minister what he has done to ensure that those who are encroaching and claiming ownership are notified that the land belongs to the state. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Railway Development, acting through the Ghana Railway Development Authority, has a right of use to government lands. Government lands are mandatory property of Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, which is a custodian of those lands. What we seek to do is to deploy our internal security to make sure that such encroachers are deterred from claiming ownership of those lands. This we continue to do day in, day out. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Finally, Mr. Speaker, listening to the Minister, he said what they seek to do, what it means that you are yet to take action. And this has been a very long, outstanding issue. Don't you think that with this attitude, we are likely to lose this land? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Maybe it's the use of the Queen language, but we are doing it already. If the seek to do meant we yet to begin the process, sorry, Mr. Speaker, it's a process that is currently ongoing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. I'll proceed. Question number 1845. It's in the name of the Honorable Member for Prestia Hone Valley, Mr. Robert Wisdom Kujo. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have the authority of the Honorable Member for Prestia Hone Valley to seek your permission to ask his question on his behalf.
Very well. Proceed.
Grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Railways Development measures put in place to pay compensation to owners of properties located where the lines of the railway pass between Takwa and Abosu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the contracts for the project made provisions for payment of compensations and all other related costs. Mr. Speaker, we recognize the length of time the process has taken and also the inconvenience caused to crops and landowners along that section of the route. However, Mr. Speaker, this is a compulsory acquisition and all legal and statutory processes as required by the Land Act 2020 at 1036 need to be concluded before compensation payments could be made to the affected people. Mr. Speaker, while the Ghana Railway Development Authority is the acquiring entity, the Land Commission is the only government agency responsible for the evaluation for compulsory acquisition purposes on behalf of the state. Mr. Speaker, as I speak, the Ghana Railway Development Authority awaits the final evaluation reports from the Land Commission for the stretch of land between Tapua and Owusu. Mr. Speaker, we will be able to pay compensations when we receive the final reports from the Land Valuation Division of the Land Commission. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Minister, in his response, indicates that the land valuation report is to be submitted by the Lands Commission. Can the Minister update the House with regards to timelines when he expects the evaluation report to get to his ministry for consequential action?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll do so as soon as the report is available to my ministry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, sir.
Grateful, Mr. Speaker. The Minister acknowledges in his second paragraph that indeed it has taken quite a bit of time. Quote, "We recognize the length of time the process has taken and the inconvenience caused to the people. What is the Minister doing to ginger the Lands Commission to make the evaluation report available?"
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the documentation process of such evaluation, as we are all aware, takes some time. But as we did admit the prolonged period and the inconvenience to the people, what we continue to do from our outfit is to constantly send reminders to the Land Valuation Department to speed up the process. Unfortunately, this department doesn't fall directly under my ministry, but we keep on consulting the sector minister to do so that payment can be made to these affected individuals as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is more of a comment.
Let me ask questions. If you have a comment, you can wait. But if you have a question,
very well.
Proceed.
Can the Minister assure this House that since he and the Lands Minister are both members of this August House, that he would engage him on this matter as soon as possible?
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, I will do so. Thank you.
Very well. Now let's proceed. The next question is by the same honorable member. You may ask the question on his behalf if you wish to.
Grateful, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Railway Development the status of work on the construction of the railway lines from Takwa to Abosu, Uni Valley, and beyond.
Yes, honorable minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the government of Ghana, represented by the Ghana Railway Development Authority, through my ministry, signed a contract dated 3rd of June 2020 with Amandi Investment Limited for the construction of section of the Western Railway Line on standard gauge from Takoradi Port to Honi Valley. Mr. Speaker, the contract duration at 42 months from the commencement date of 28 November 2022. Mr. Speaker, the project is therefore estimated to be completed by the 28th of May 2026, depending on availability of funds. Mr. Speaker, as at the end of October 2023, the project was about 16.7% complete. It is our expectation to complete the connection between Nsuta and Takoradi Port by the end of 2024 for the haulage of manganese to the port, using the new standard gauge railway line, which will be more efficient, effective, and reliable. Mr. Speaker, the project, however, faces serious challenges from illegal mining activities along the railway corridor. Illegal miners are observed excavating within few meters from the newly constructed rail lines. This compromises the structural integrity of the railway formation, causing significant additional costs to the project. The contractor, in some instances, have to reconstruct certain sections already done, clean up of more silt led by the miners in drains and culverts, and reclaim land deteriorated through illegal mining. These are expensive activities, Mr. Speaker, that cost government millions of dollars. The Ministry of Railway Development and Ghana Railway Development Authority are working currently tirelessly to ensure the completion of this project within the estimated time period. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honorable.
Grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Minister has indicated the challenges that the project is facing as a result of the nefarious and nation-wrecking activities of illegal miners. What is the ministry doing to try and protect that line with regards to this encroachment by the illegal miners?
Yes, honorable minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The ministry has informed the Sector Minister for Mines in the Republic of Ghana. And as you are aware, the minister has put in measures to make sure that the illegal miners are moved away from the site. Yes, I do admit that there have been some reduction in their activities, but they continue to do this in the night. So the Ministry of Mines, as I stated earlier on, is still putting measures to make sure that these illegal miners are driven away from the railway lines. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, any follow-up question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The minister, in his response, speaks to the project being completed, hopefully, by May 2026. But he then indicates that on availability of funds. But he also tells us that a contract has been signed. So how do you reconcile the two? Because I would assume that if a contract has been signed, the resources are available. Can you clarify that, please?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Mr. Speaker, contract has been signed with date of commencement and date of completion. But these are subject to unforeseen contingencies, which happens in every contract. It is a fact, Mr. Speaker, we are all aware of the challenging times in which the world is facing, and cash flow to such projects are, not as expected. But it is our hope, since we still fall within the contract period, the contractor will be able to speed up work. The fact remains that progress in terms of completion is far below the expectation of the ministry, where we expect the project to get to. The contractor has made us understand that they need to reduce some section of work that they are currently doing. But we are hoping that they will speed up in due course. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Grateful, Mr. Speaker. The minister speaks about the role of illegal miners. Is it the case that their destructive activities could add to the original cost of the contract, in your opinion?
Obviously, yes, Mr. Speaker, because these activities undermine the integrity of the substructure. And so what it means is that where the expected volume of boulders or laterite are expected to be brought in, increase in such volumes as a result of the disturbance of the integrity of the substructure may definitely increase the project cost. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the minister lamented about the activities of illegal miners that has led to an increase in the cost price of the project. And he's saying that there's some actions to get them off the site. But they come back in the night to do the illegal mining. In the event that this project is completed, are you going to put these security people there permanently? And how sustainable is this? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it is a fact that these activities, as a country, we would all have to come together and examine it properly. The culture of some people, it's undermining the efforts of members both in this house and outside the house. On completion of the project, what the ministry intends to do is to put surveillance along those lines. But what again means is that surveillance is also going to be a cost. So we will continue to play our role to serve as a deterrent to those illegal miners that may want to interfere with the railway lines. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. This is the last question for the Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, we thank you for attending upon the House to answer questions. You are discharged. Honorable Majority Leader, we are on item 6. What is your pleasure, sir?
Mr. Speaker, I think yesterday
The Speaker admitted a statement in respect of some developments at Sampa, and we requested that the Minister responsible for the Interior be available. The Minister is here, so I think the member could be granted the opportunity to make the statements. The Minister himself has to attend to some other business. At least he could listen to him, and if there's any response, offer the response before he leaves.
Very well. Whose statement was that? Honorable Member for German North is in the House? Yes, you may read your statement now.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to bring your attention and that of this August House on the chieftaincy impasse which has resulted in the demise of one person and 7 other persons sustaining various degrees of injuries on the 30th of November 2023 in Sampa. Sampa is a town in the Bruno region of Ghana on the border with Côte d'Ivoire. It is the capital of German North District and formerly the site of the slave market. It was the capital of the Akan state of German in the late 15th century. It is the biggest border town in Ghana with a population of over 40,000. They speak Nafara language and equally speak Twi as a second language because Sampa is a cosmopolitan society where a lot of economic activities take place. Nafara is spoken in Banda, part of Time district and Bundugu district of Côte d'Ivoire. It is the leading producer of cashew in Ghana. Wow. Mr. Speaker, Sampa over the past 16 years has experienced a protracted chieftaincy litigation after the demise of Nana Kofi II, the immediate past Omahin of Sampa Traditional Council, on 8th May 2007 over the attempt to find his successor. Mr. Speaker, despite this protracted litigation, all parties to this litigation have coexisted and lived peacefully without any skirmishes until somewhere November this year, when His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II, the Asantehene, gave a ruling on this dispute before him in favor of one of the litigating parties, which sparked a clash between the litigating parties, resulting in members of both parties sustaining various degrees of injuries due to the exchange of firearms, machetes, stones, and other weapons. The first of its kind in the history of Sampa. The Ghana Police Service, with a swift intervention, was able to restore calm and peace. Mr. Speaker, Sampa remained relatively peaceful until the last week of June 2023, when a notification letter came out purporting to install and install a paramount chief of Sampa Traditional Council between 30th to 1st December has been the directive from Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II. Mr. Speaker, this notification raised tension in Sampa because the other party, who supposedly lost the case in Manshia, said they were never satisfied with the verdict from Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II and considered it as a distortion of the history of Sampa, and for that matter, they will use every means to stop the said installation because they perceive the purported installation as an imposition. Mr. Speaker, according to them, they consider the installation as an imposition because the case was reinstated in the Bruno Regional House of Chiefs, where the litigation was originally pending, until Otumfuo asked them to withdraw the litigation for an amicable settlement at his palace. Mr. Speaker, I began receiving series of calls from my constituents about the looming danger which led to the closure of shops, people hiding in their rooms, and several others fleeing the town for the fear of their life as a result of the possible clash between the two parties. I quickly called the district chief executive and the regional minister to ascertain the situation. The regional minister directed me to speak to his regional coordinating director, and that he was in the best position to brief me on the situation. I spoke with the regional coordinating director as directed by the regional minister. The regional coordinating director's response was that they are aware of the situation, and for that matter, he has summoned an urgent regional security council meeting, after which he will brief me of the outcome of the meeting. Mr. Speaker, I called him the following day after the urgent RESEC meeting, and the response was that the said installation will take place, and that RESEC has planned to provide security for a smooth and peaceful and a successful installation and instrument, and that it was an order from above. I quizzed him whether he is aware of the injunction order placed by the Brno Regional House of Chiefs restraining the said instrument and its security implications, and he repeated the answer that it was an order from above and that the RESEC could do nothing about it. Mr. Speaker, I quickly left Parliament and went to the offices of the National Security Minister and the Interior Minister for their intervention. Looking at the tension, the fear of the people losing their lives, and the national security implications, since Sampa share a border with Côte d'Ivoire, taking cognizance of the current terrorist situation on our borders. Mr. Speaker, the National Security Minister told me that he is aware of the situation, and it is within the ambit of the RESEC to contain the situation. I placed a call to him the following morning, and he repeated the same response that the regional minister and her RESEC have assured him of their preparedness and readiness to contain the situation and its excesses. Mr. Speaker, on the eve of the program, the dissatisfied party, according to the information at hand, decided to disrupt the program, which the police resisted after several hours of persuasion. This led to an exchange of guns between the dissatisfied party and the police, which resulted in the death of an innocent person and several others sustaining various degrees of wounds. Mr. Speaker, what saddens my heart is that when the innocent person was gunned down by the police, a good Samaritan lady went to his rescue, and she was equally gunned in her arm. Subsequently, several other persons who wanted to come to his aid were warned by the police to stay off, or else they would equally be gunned down, including the deceased's own children. They left the deceased unattended for hours until he finally died in the scorching sun. Mr. Speaker, was this situation not avoidable? Mr. Speaker, I pray your outfit to invite the regional minister, the RESEC of Brno region, and the National Security Minister, the Interior Minister, to appear before this August House and answer questions to what led to the demise of the innocent persons and the injuries sustained by the other persons, since they assured me that the situation was under control and they could contain the excesses. Also, they should assure this August House of measures they are putting in place to restore peace and calm without aggravating the situation, taking into account the polarized nature of the situation in Sampa. Mr. Speaker, I once again pray your outfit to constitute a committee to investigate the cause of this unfortunate and avoidable situation in Sampa. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member for Subin.
Most grateful, Mr. Speaker. I wish to contribute to the statement ably made by Honorable Frederick Ahinkra, MP for German North. Mr. Speaker, I wish to also correct some factual inaccuracies in what he has presented to the House this morning. Sampa falls within the administrative control and purview of Otumfuo, His Royal Majesty Osei II, Asante Mapa. Sampa is part of Asanteman. Therefore, Otumfuo installs all paramount chiefs within his administrative area. It is therefore unfortunate for a matter of such nature, a very sensitive matter, when it comes to the installation of a mining or paramount chiefs within the Asanteman area to be determined by the Bono Regional Council or the Bono Regional House of Chiefs. That is also very unfortunate. Right Honorable Speaker, Sampa, Drobo, and Japikon. It's so unfortunate Honorable Eric Opoku is not here. I think he's a great historian when it comes to these matters. As a former regional minister, these issues came before him and how he dealt with them. These areas have been a burning or a melting pot for Asanteman, with the Supreme Court judgment going against Drobo, handing over the entire land under the old Drobo jurisdiction to Japikrom. No, it was Drobo to Japikrom. Drobo to Japikrom. So Drobo doesn't have a land now. It's all under the jurisdiction of Japikrom. Mr. Speaker, it behoves on the Otumfuo to bring these matters to Malaysia and deal with them as custom demands. Why certain people within the old northwestern part of Asanteman, the Bono East, Ahafu, and what have you, wants to determine these serious, delicate chieftaincy matters under the Bono Regional House of Chiefs is also a very unfortunate situation. And we are calling on all stakeholders, MPs, paramount chiefs, the lot, to understand the supremacy of Otumfuo when it comes to Asanteman matters. These things are crafted and well documented in the Chieftaincy Act as to his control over such areas. And Mr. Speaker, without further ado, I think I will end here by saying that we will tread cautiously and leave such chieftaincy matters to those who are mandated to do them or to play such roles in ensuring peace and stability in such regions. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
I'm looking for people from Ahafu area. No Medina. German South, very well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to the statement made by my colleague, Honorable Inquirer Frederick, MP for German South, German North. Mr. Speaker, this statement should not generate any debate, but I want to make a small comment on what Honorable Member of Subin said. German South is a capital of Drobo, and in his submission he mentioned Drobo Traditional Council and some other areas that falls in the jurisdiction of Otumfuo. Mr. Speaker, I want to state here that German South, Drobo, as the capital of Drobo Traditional Council, is not in the jurisdiction of Otumfuo. I will go straight to comment on the statement made by the Honorable Member of Parliament for German North. Mr. Speaker, German North is a very important area in the Bono region, especially in economic activities. Sampa, as the capital of German North, is a place for a whole lot of commercial activities. It's a place where in the German district we have our farm yam markets. When you go to German North, on Mondays they have a market day. And Mr. Speaker, some of the products you see there, mainly market, some of the products you see there are mainly farm produce, like yam. They are yam farmers. And also, Mr. Speaker, cashew is the main cash crop that has actually been prevailing in German North and the German South. Mr. Speaker, these disturbances in German North has actually affected the whole of the German, both North and the South. Especially, Mr. Speaker, the cashew season is very close. We are in December, and by the month of January, we will have foreigners arriving from all parts of the world. Last 2 weeks, I was in German North, and I even saw some Indians and Vietnamese already in the town looking for accommodation, preparing to buy into this cashew business. Mr. Speaker, the disturbances in German North, if you listen to the maker of the statement, he said he received calls and people were closing shops. People were hiding in their houses. They couldn't come out. If nothing is done to curtail or prevent these kind of chieftaincy issues in the region and then area, Mr. Speaker, I think it's going to have a very negative effect on the economic activities of the area. As he rightly mentioned, German North is also a border town and borders one of the regional capitals of Ivory Coast, that is Bontuku. We all transact business across the border area. If this chieftaincy issue is not resolved, Mr. Speaker, it will be very difficult for our brothers on the other side, that's the Ivorians, to come in and for us to also go there. So, Mr. Speaker, I just want to pray your outfit to encourage the Interior Minister, the RESEC, the DISEC, Mr. Speaker, to put their house in order and move in quickly and ensure that peace is prevailed. There is peace in German North. Mr. Speaker, recently, just last week, it was a Farmers' Day. But when you go to German North, they couldn't do their Farmers' Day just because of these disturbances. So you can just imagine, if we allow this thing to continue and we don't find solution to it, Mr. Speaker, it's going to be a big blow and a disturbance to all the economic activities that we have in the area. Mr. Speaker, I also want to appeal to Owusu-Adjapong II. He is the president of the Buno Regional House of Chiefs, and this thing is happening right in Buno Ahafo. Owusu-Adjapong is a High Court judge and very knowledgeable. Mr. Speaker, I've been following him talking about history of the Buno people. I know Owusu-Adjapong can bring his expertise to bear on this issue.
Honorable member, please. If it goes to the traditional council, there's a judicial committee. So don't bring in the chair. Okay? The judicial committee of the Regional House of Chiefs that will educate on it. He may not be the presiding officer. So kindly, let's focus on the security matter for which the member made a statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I understand you.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, just to thank you and to ask my colleague to take a cue from you. Also to advise my colleagues on the other side. This is a very sensitive and delicate matter. So if the speaker is guiding the honorable member, we must listen. We must listen in silence. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for that. We must all take you and be circumspect in our comment on this particular statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the guidance.
Honorable member, I said we should stay within the security issue, for which reason we brought the Minister for Interior here. Leave out all the chieftaincy trappings, okay? Chief, what are you
I'm not objecting, just to let my colleague know that we were just drawing the honorable member's attention. Speaker, when you were cautioning him, while you were speaking, he was on his feet. And our orders frown upon that. The speaker should be listening to in silence. So when the speaker is speaking, we are all supposed to resume our seats.
Mr. Speaker,
honorable member, conclude.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for your guidance. I was only trying to say, Owusu-Adjapong the second is the president of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, and for that matter, once this thing is happening in the Bono region, Owusu-Adjapong can move in and also encourage his people to maintain peace in the region and in German North. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, thank you so much for the opportunity given me. Thank you so much for the opportunity given me to comment on this statement, and I want to commend my colleague for such a wonderful statement. Mr. Speaker, he tells you that he has his people at heart, and he wants German law, a peace to
thank you very much. Honorable Minister of Interior, let me listen to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Right, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to start by thanking the Honorable Member of German North, the Honorable Felix Amankwa, whose statement is clear and specific. It's headed a statement by the Honorable Felix Amankwa on the urgent need to restore peace in Sampa. And I think that his statement has been spot on, and I thank him because security is a collective responsibility. And I expect members of parliament to show interest as he has shown by making contacts with various security institutions. Mr. Speaker, he didn't make contact with me, but you can see that he is reporting of events that he was informed of, and I do understand very much. Let me start by emphasizing that the Ghana Police Service is committed to ensuring that peace in German Sampa is secure. Indeed, in paragraph 4 of his own statement, the last two sentences, Mr. Speaker, I read, the police service, with a swift intervention, were able to restore calm and peace. Now, Mr. Speaker, let me distinguish between security and chieftaincy. The law is clear that chieftaincy matters are to be handled by traditional authority, commencing traditional council, regional House of Chiefs, National Council, and from there to the Supreme Court. All other aspects of the chieftaincy may require some intervention by High Court and some motions. But having said that, the Constitution is clear and the executive is committed to making sure that it does not involve insurrection chieftaincy. In this matter, it is clear that since 2007, there has been a vacant stool, the paramount stool of Sampa. And in June this year, the Member of Parliament that stated, but let me be specific, on 22nd June 2023, the Asantuma Council, who had the attendance of all the 3 gates present, gave a ruling in favor of one side. Miss the parties went to the Asante and submitted themselves to the Asante Man Council. The only interpretation for any lawyer is that they see the Asante King as their own God. Mr. Speaker, a ruling was given on 22nd June 2023. From that time, there was no violence. As the Member of Parliament rightly points out, he says in November, and I'll help him, November 23rd, 2023, the Sampa Traditional Council issued a notice for the installation of the victorious party before Asante Man Council. Mr. Speaker, it is clear that due process is the key. The MP is not aware, neither am I aware, that there has been an appeal from that ruling. And let me give free legal advice. When you are dealing with a paramount chief in a different region, the venue of original jurisdiction is the National Council, National House of Chiefs. So if a paramount chief from Upper East is taking on or questioning the paramount chief of Northeast or Upper West, the place for original jurisdiction is the National House of Chiefs. There is no mention by the honorable member who made the statement, and I'm not aware, the security infrastructure is not aware of any due process taken against the ruling. Mr. Speaker, I would like to assist my honorable member of parliament who genuinely was concerned about the way the security agencies and ministers were reacting. It is because by the law we are restricted to maintaining the peace. We cannot determine a matter of chieftaincy. So it starts from Asante Man Council, it comes down to Sampa Traditional Council, and therefore what RESEC and the police would do is to ensure that peace is not disturbed. Mr. Speaker, and therefore there was no disturbance of peace until 30th November. And 30th November was the day on which the chief was to be installed. The paramount chief was to be installed. Now, Mr. Speaker, on that day, the police saw a group of youth, 150 youth. Please. Yes, the police counted them. Please. The police counted it. The police actually engaged them for 2 hours. Their target wasn't the police. They were there to disrupt or prevent the sub-chiefs who were coming to the occasion. So the police engaged them and told them to take it easy. After 2 hours, the youth left the police and started firing. And Mr. Speaker, let me assist my colleague here. They started firing. The police commanded the police officials to fire only into the air. Only into the air. Yes, warning shots. So the impact of the warning shots was what dispersed the group ultimately, but it left a number of people injured. 10 police officers, including an officer who went to Fountain Care Hospital to be treated, 11 civilians who went to Sampa District Hospital. The person who was shot by the youth, not the police. Yes, on 4th December, Mr. Speaker, after the dispersal, the police picked 7 suspects on the spot, and later on, those who ran away, 4 more were arrested, and they appeared before court on 4th December in Sunyai, and have been remanded to reappear on 13th December 2023. Mr. Speaker, let me emphasize that the police always and continues and would also in this case subject all their actions to the Professional Standards Bureau to ascertain if all the police operatives who were in this operation did the right thing. The man who has been killed will have a bullet in him. There will be an autopsy. We would know which bullet is in him, and we will be able to continue with the investigation. But as we sit now, there is peace in Sampa, and we are going to maintain it. Mr. Speaker, whatever people think about who is what is left to the traditional councils. Anybody who has any doubts, go to that. Go to due process. But as of today, we are not aware of any appeal against the ruling of the Otumfo. We are not aware of any court action restraining anybody, and therefore the police were there to maintain peace, and so we have done. Let me assure the Member of Parliament that in this contact, he didn't contact me. I was probably difficult to find, but I am a person whom a number of lawyers here would testify that I have a lot of knowledge as far as the chieftaincy processes are concerned, and I would give him free assistance and advice. But let this house not be a house which tends to usurp roles and investigation. What investigation is that? There's a chieftaincy matter. All the parties submitted themselves to the Asantehini. He gave a ruling, and that is it. There should be appeals, and there should be action, National House and Supreme Court. Neither of that has taken place. Mr. Speaker, we should not allow this House to begin to declare for one chief or the other. I don't declare for any chief or the other. I'm talking of the facts that are on the ground, and ours is to maintain peace. If the MP thinks that as of today, there's any reason to think that the police are not enough and what we should do, we would do. But let me make it clear that this country is rule of law. If you are dissatisfied with a situation, you go to due process. You then take the law into your own hands. And I want to say that the police did not encounter any elders. It was on November 30th, they had 150 youth who they dealt with. I would advise my dear brother who appears is a young like me to do us, cooperate with us, and let's make sure that there is peace and security. And another honorable member got up from South, German South, and is complaining about the situation, I don't know. If there is a security situation in your constituency, get to me. Don't wait until there's another explosion. But for the statement that has been made, I thank him very much for making the statement. I encourage him to continue to be with us. But let this House respect the separation of powers, independence of the judiciary. Let democracy rule. But Mr. Speaker, we are prepared for the police at the end of the day to give a report to the Defense and Internal Committee of this House to deal with it, and demand Defense and Interior of this House to deal with it, and at that level we would be able to advise ourselves. Mr. Speaker, thank you for this, but let not this be an occasion for people declare for one chief or another. That is not our remit. It's the remit of the traditional councils, traditional council, regional house of chiefs, the national house of chiefs, and Supreme Court. And where you have paramount chiefs from two different regions, the place of original jurisdiction is the national house of chiefs. With these words, Mr. Speaker, I thank you, and let not anybody begin as a result of this to make statements that will inflame passions anywhere else and give us security problems. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, we are done with that statement. Security has been spoken about. Please, we are done on this statement. There's another statement. Excuse me. Leader, we are done on this statement. I'm sure if there are any fallout, the minister will be ready to listen to any members, but for all relevant purposes, the statement has been properly delivered. The minister has provided the remedies and has assured us that there is peace and security at the place now. That is all that matters for now. Yes, Honorable Leader, will you take there was another statement by another member in respect of another location, but at the pre-sitting meeting, we decided that, yes, that's in Kwanta, right? We decided that the minister be giving a copy, so he will investigate, so that when you speak, he can provide a remit for us. So yours will be taken tomorrow, please. I've made a copy for the minister to get the on-the-ground information, so you can make your statement tomorrow. Thank you. Yes, Leader.
Leader, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I cannot challenge your ruling. Our effort is to help you maintain peace. Mr. Speaker, I did very well in controlling the back and assuring them that whatever clearance was there to be made, leadership will be given the opportunity to clarify that. So if you observe, when the minister was speaking, the honorable member for German North came to me and I said he should exercise restraint. The speaker, together with leadership, together with the minister, will clarify the air. The speaker will represent people. He spoke before the minister spoke. The minister said he has not been able to contact him. The speaker, that was a statement which the member wanted to clarify. But in statements, once he has already spoken, you will not give him the audience again. So I thought you would give the leadership the opportunity to clarify that. If the people of German North get to know that the Minister for Interior said the honorable member for German North, in the course of all this, did not come into contact with him, Mr. Speaker, which is not a statement of fact, he will not be doing them any good service. That's why I wanted you to give me just...
I thought I heard the minister say, I was difficult to find.
Mr. Speaker,
that is confirming that, yes, these are where you made the
I
effort.
was difficult to find. That don't mean the honorable member went to the Minister of Interior and went to the Minister of National Security on several occasions and spoke to the minister's advisor. So this must be clarified. I'm not thinking you are a politician yourself. So sometimes we need to clarify the air for people to know the good effort that went into such things. Mr. Speaker, you know I can't challenge you. And I know you mean to maintain peace. Mr. Speaker, and you know the essence and impact of all these statements. So this is what I wanted to plead with you. If you give me just a minute, then I'll clarify the air. But Mr. Speaker, I'm in your hands.
Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Minister, I think it is sufficient.
May I claim the Honorable Member of Parliament did the right thing. The RESTEC is the security institution in the region in charge. And from that, it comes to the national security. I am the minister for the police and the other agencies. So once he contacted RESTEC and national security, let the public know that he has done his job. I was just talking at my personal level, but I'm not the authority. The authority, RESTEC, national security. Thank you.
Very well. Leader, are we ready to take the statement of the former majority leader?
That is so, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honourable members, the former majority leader passed on a few months ago. Today we will read the tributes in respect of Honourable Felix Owusu-Adjapong. The first one will be read by the Majority Chief Whip. It's by Parliament, yes.
Speaker, tribute in memory of the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong, former Majority Leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs by the Parliament of Ghana. Speaker, the Parliament of Ghana has, in this last quarter of the year, suffered great shock and trepidation resulting from very unpleasant news of the passing of a number of stalwarts who have passed through the institution, in particular, Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong. Speaker, the Commonwealth Parliament Association, the CPA, the worldwide body of parliaments in countries that in the past have come under the rule of Great Britain, was to have its annual conference in Accra from 30th September to 6th October 2023. The Ghana branch has sent invitations to former speakers of the Ghanaian Parliament as well as former leaders of the House. Mr. Felix Owusu-Adjapong, a 3-term member of Parliament for Akim Swedro, became the majority leader after the brief leadership of Jade Mensah and Papa Owusu-Ankoma, and as such had been invited to the inaugural event of the CPA conference by the Right Honourable Speaker, Alban Gbagbe. The host speaker, who at the time had assumed the presidency of the association, whilst the House was waiting for the arrival of the former leader at the 4th October event, news filtered through that Felix Owusu-Adjapong would not and could not make it to the International Conference Center. He had passed on. Speaker, the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong first entered Parliament on the 7th of January 1997 as a Member of Parliament of the Akim Swedro constituency. His unwavering dedication has left significant footprints not only in Parliament but in the nation as a whole. The Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong engaged in multifaceted roles in governance, having a stint with both the executive as a cabinet minister with different portfolios in succession and member of the legislature as a key member, majority leader and minister for parliamentary affairs at the same time. This was after his earlier tenure in Parliament between 1997 and 2000, when he was in the minority caucus. His election for 3 consecutive terms to a Parliament with a very high turnover was a testament to his enduring commitments and the trust bestowed upon him by his constituents. Speaker, his dedication spanned key committees of the House, including the Standing Orders Committee, Committee on Selection, Committee on Mines and Energy, and the Committee on Lands and Forestry. Elevating his commitment further, he assumed chairmanship of the House Committee, the Special Budget Committees, and the Business Committees on his reappointment as a Majority Leader, a position he's combined with the post of Minister for Parliamentary Affairs. His academic and professional credentials as a surveyor, a valuer, and a lawyer, coupled with his leadership expertise, enable him to navigate with ease the intricate pathways of legislative business. These skills position him appropriately to make tremendous impact both in Cabinet and Parliament. Speaker, the Honorable Owusu-Adjapong's tenure was not just marked with astute leadership, which sometimes occasioned a perceived rift between him and the then learned, bold, articulate Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Peter Ajete of blessed memory, but also adorned with his influential role as a Majority Leader, a position from which he extended his reach and impact with remarkable depth. He was bestowed upon with the title Great Leader from contemporaries in Parliament, especially member in the majority group. Honorable Owusu-Adjapong was a vigilant advocate of strict adherence to rule of law, transparency, accountability, and the handling of government business. He was an apostle of stringent regulations to safeguard the nation's well-being. In an urgent matter regarding national security and arms control, he stated, and I quote, "Mr. Speaker, we take notice of the fact that the bulk of our policemen and women are very sincere, genuine working people who want to help us maintain peace and order in this country. But we now realize that the level of equipment they hold is gradually becoming lower and lower. The other day, reading a paper, I read a story which indicated that if not for the support of a feared macho man in a particular town, so and so would have happened. But when society begins to give credence to other paramilitary bodies that are not sanctioned as part of the state apparatus, we cannot be sure when such macho men, such militia, self-appointed, armed men with sophisticated guns and equipment become the very thief, the very armed robber we are dealing with. I suppose we need to tackle the problem to ensure that all arms that for one reason or the other have gone into the wrong hands are brought to the police and other officially authorized agencies. We need to be extra careful to look at the way we have encouraged more and more people to be holding onto unauthorized arms, unquote. Speaker, his legacy continues to resonate, an emblem of unwavering commitment and favor that illuminated the corridors of governance. His dedication to fortify the nation's governance structure echoed in the urgent call he made towards addressing the burgeoning issue of unauthorized arms and proliferation. Speaker, his pregnant pledge for vigilance in handling arms and inculcating a culture of accountability did not only speak volumes about his resolute stand regarding national security, but also underscore the peril of legitimizing and sanctioning armed groups. Speaker, in his legacy, we find not just the memory of a leader, but an eternal mandate to uphold the sanctity of governance and the nation's prosperity. His passion and zeal for service delivery knew no bounds. This was evident in his delivery and timely approach to administrative matters, issues that came to his attention as a key member of Parliament Service Board and as the majority leader. He did not just will it, but impressed upon ministers of state to strictly adhere to the parliamentary calendar in their attendance upon the House to assist in the conduct of government business on the floor. Speaker, the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong echoed on countless occasions that responsible sector minister must be served notice to be present on the floor for immediate response to statements likely to call into question the actions and inactions of government. Speaker, this to him will not only help improve relationship with the executive, but facilitate the essence of governance. This eulogy can never be complete without mentioning his frequent calls through the Chief of Staff to ministers to reprioritize parliamentary business, whether in responding to parliamentary questions and policy statement or to clarify executive actions or inactions and promote the passage of bills as scheduled. Speaker, to ensure expeditious consideration of annual budget estimates and the passage of the appropriation bill during the last quarter of each year, which is the busiest period in the parliamentary calendar, the Honorable Owusu-Adjapong devised an administrative strategy where each assistant clerk was assigned only one committee to facilitate the process. This became known as the one-man, one-committee dictum. Speaker, particularly characteristics of him was his simplicity in dealing with both the great and small, young and old, the knowledgeable, the downtrodden, rich and poor. He will certainly return your call no matter how it took and irrespective of who you were, in very polite and most professional manner. Speaker, after the attempt to succeed President Kufuor in the party's presidential primaries, the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong was reassigned as the Minister for Energy from where he exited the executive and legislature on 6th January 2009. He subsequently retired from active political life. There cannot be any doubt that he fought a good fight for the nation and the New Patriotic Party, which he believed so much in. As we bid farewell to this great politician, true patriots, distinguished statesman, today, our heartfelt condolences go to his wife, children, family, and loved ones. The Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong, may your soul rest in perfect peace. Speaker, thank you.
There's another statement by the current majority leader, so I'll ask him to read that also before we make our comments. Yes, Honorable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the first week in October 2023 was certainly one of anguish. The week was full of thorns and thistles for the New Patriotic Party in particular and the nation as a whole. The Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, the worldwide body of parliaments in countries that had in the past come under the rule of Great Britain, was to have its annual conference in Accra from the 30th of September to the 6th of October 2023. The Ghana branch, under the jurisdiction of Right Honourable Speaker Owusu-Adjapong, had sent invitations to former speakers of the Ghanaian Parliament, as well as former leaders of the House. Mr. Felix Owusu-Adjapong, a three-term member of Parliament for Akim Sridro, was a majority leader after the leadership of J.H. Mensah and Papa Owusu-Ankuma, and as such had been invited to the inaugural event. Speaker Owusu-Adjapong, the host speaker, inquired from me whether the speakers and leaders could make it. That was in the evening of Tuesday, the 3rd of October. I informed him that I had met both Professor Okoye and Right Honourable Sechi Hughes at President Kufuor's residence, and the former had confirmed he will be coming. I indicated that I have not heard from the Honourable Felix Owusu-Adjapong for a while, But I thought he might be in good shape, as he was doing very well the last time I visited him. The following day, Wednesday, October 4th, just the day after that conversation with Right Honorable Alvin Bagbin, and the very day of the inauguration of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference, the transition of Felix Owusu-Adjapong came through to us. And showing the communication to the Speaker in the evening at the conference center, at the dinner for the conferees, the news catapulted Mr. Speaker from his chair. Felix, as a leader of the House, was one who was always looking for results. He would not allow anything to stand in his way. As a leader of government business, his attitude was that a government is elected to fulfill its social contract with the people, encapsulated in its manifesto with the people. In that regard, the work program of the elected administration must be duly implemented, and Parliament must provide effective partnership. If the people, the ultimate beneficiaries, felt shortchanged by the conduct of business of the administration, they have closed the authority to vote out the government. In other words, in his considered view, the minority in Parliament must always have their say, but the majority would have their way. Some in the minority group in Parliament considered Felix was uncompromising and gave him the accolade, great leader. Paradoxically, the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong came to love the title and signed letters with the honor bestowed on him. The surveyor and lawyer that Felix was, he was always very thorough in his activities. In 1997, when the MPP first entered Parliament, the number for the parliamentary group, the MPP parliamentary group, was just 61 in the 200-member chamber. The caucus was complemented by the 4 CPP members and 2 PNC members, which brought the minority group up to 67, denying the NDC the watershed 2/3, which have given them absolute majority in the House. The conduct of activities in Parliament in those times engendered desperation, especially when the then Speaker, Right Honorable Justice Daniel Francis Annan, insisted that because the ratio in the House was 2-1, he would, on any subject matter of debate or comment in plenary, accord the NDC 2 speaking turns and 1 for the minority caucus. This compelled the MPP group to begin a frantic exercise to expand our numbers. Felix Owusu-Adjapong provided the group space at his office at the Nat Hall. The group was populated by backbenchers, and the first meeting that we had in his office birthed Mission 2000, which was a fundraising vehicle which was used to support the orphan constituencies. Each member of Parliament adopted 1 orphan constituency. The upshot of it all, entered January 2021, was a dramatic overnight increase in the numbers of the MPP to 103 from 61. Felix Owusu-Adjapong was very instrumental in the mobilization of funds. At least 20% of the funds raised ensued directly from his contacts. The resources came to be placed at the disposal of the party. Felix, as the majority leader, served under 2 speakers, Right Honorable Peter Alajete and Regina Sechi Hughes, the latter of whose election he, Uncle Felix, was very instrumental in. The majority leader of the House and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong, was one of the 17 people who put in their hearts in the party's presidential primaries to succeed President Kufuor. After the abortive attempt, he was brought back into the executive as Minister for Energy, from where he exited the executive and Parliament on January 6, 2009. Since then, he led a quiet life. There cannot be any doubt that he fought a good fight for the cause of the party, the New Patriotic Party, that he so much believed in. Mr. Speaker, as well, there cannot be any doubt that he fought a good fight for the country that he so much believed in. Senior Felix, may your soul rest in perfect peace. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity to read this eulogy.
From current majority leader, I'll go to the former majority leader, Honorable Cletus Avoka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the tribute of our very good late colleague, Felix Owusu-Adjapong. Mr. Speaker, the late Felix Owusu-Adjapong joined us in this parliament in January 1997. That is during the second parliament of the Fourth Republic that he came to join us here. He came in the company of great parliamentarians like late J.H. Mensah, the current President Nana Akufo-Addo, the current majority leader J.H. Mensah, and several others. You recall that the first parliament of 1993 to 1997 was basically one-sided. Out of about 200 MPs or so, the NDC had about 187 members of parliament, and then there were a few other MPs that added to it. Country that it was a one-sided parliament. In 1997, when the MPP joined us, quite few, it gave a lot of respectability to this August House because people thought that the House was now balanced in a way. And during the first parliament, we had a lot of sufferance. I recall that because of public perception and public view, we could only get a loan to buy a second-hand car. So I even got 5 million CD and bought a 10-year-old Opel record. Opel record. Yes. Yes. So 5 million to buy a 10-year-old second-hand car. And that used to send that to our constituencies and back. And it didn't last the 4 years. Happily, when they joined us in 1997, I remember J.H. Mensah, late J.H. Mensah, and Felix Owusu-Adjapong led the crusade and said that this parliament, they are not going to ride bicycles to the house, they are not going to ride motorcycles to the house, and they are not going to ride second-hand cars to the house. And that if the executive are privileged to be given new cars, the members of parliament must also be privileged to get new cars. Yes. It was their intervention that in 2001 parliament, that is the third parliament, that we had money to buy new cars, some of them saloon and some of them mini four-wheel drive cars. And that brought a lot of dignity to members of this August House. And the quality of debate, I must confess, was very high. The second parliament and the third parliament can go down in record history as one of the periods that this parliament enjoyed intelligent debate or very professional debate, the second and third parliaments. Other parliaments are doing well, but in comparison, that disgraces the arts. And that's because of the type of people like Owusu-Adjapong that we had in this August House. When I first met him in the second parliament, and I just, from the word go, saw that this man is very affable, and this man is very flamboyant, and he's an achiever. From the CV, from the statement made by the chief whip, majority chief whip, he was a surveyor, a valuer, and a lawyer, and then came to join us in this house. And then after a short while, he joined the executive by virtue of dint of hard work, and then later on became majority leader of this August House. And that is why he got the title Great Leader. Mr. Speaker, there are two distinct things that I must extol of him and all other colleagues who are here. With this high attrition of parliament, if somebody is able to come here for 3 terms, If somebody is able to make it to this August House for 3 terms, then the fellow must be respected as an achiever, must be respected as a fighter. Because of the high attrition rate, it's not easy to go back, and whatnot. So I think that late fellow Owusu-Adjapong was here for 3 terms. And then hailing from an area where they know that if you win the primary, you are likely to come here. It was a great fight that he had to fight 3 terms before coming to this August House. I will credit him with that determination and that resilience that he had. Besides that, he became the leader of this August House. And then given the quality and the caliber of people we had from their side, it is not by accident that anybody can emerge as leader of this August House, whether minority leader or majority leader. It cannot be by accident. It cannot also be just by luck. Because there are certain factors your side of the house will put into play before they make you a leader. Are you a team player? They will look at that. Are you a brick builder? And then are you somebody who builds consensus? Are you somebody who is respected by your side and by the other side? And therefore you can move the house along. It is against the backdrop of these qualities that he became a leader of majority side in this August House. And no wonder he was credited with the name Great Leader. I know occasionally he had confrontation with the speaker, then very good speaker Peter Owusu-Adjapong. And because of turf war, this great leader thought that he was even higher than the speaker. Occasionally, yes, I was here. He was leader of the house. It's my turn, you know.
Leader of which house?
This Parliament House. This Parliament House. Mr. Speaker, occasionally he had clashes with Peter Owusu-Adjapong, who was then our speaker. And I must also put on record that Peter Owusu-Adjapong was a great speaker. He was a great speaker. He was somebody who liked intelligent debate. So whether you are coming from the minority side or majority, he will look at you and assess you, and he had no difficulty in calling you or you catching his eye to speak. Because he will tell you that he enjoys people who are going to contribute to the subject, so that it will educate people, and not people who are going to be rising up and talk about the point of order. He didn't like it. So they used to have their conflict. And that is why we refer to him as a great leader, because it's not easy for somebody to be challenging the speaker. And he was very disciplined. So to the extent that he wouldn't allow his minister on the other side to look down on this house or not to attend to this house. That is why he got the name. I think that we have lost him. We should be mourning for having somebody who has been here to shape the destiny of this house, to shape the parliament of this country for 3 terms. From parliament, we went to the executive, and finally even contested primaries to become a flag bearer. So this is somebody we have lost today. I think that this parliament should fashion something. That if you have been here at least for 2-3 terms, or for 3 terms and above, then you should be entitled to something. You should be recognized in this country, because it is not easy to be here. That will be an issue that will motivate people to be able to come here. It is not for nothing that we provide in the Constitution that majority of members of Parliament should become the ministers of state. We just wanted to boost the image of Parliament. We wanted to attract people, professionals of all caliber, to come to this August House. The question is whether we are reaping the benefits for which we made that provision under Article 78 of the Constitution. So now that we have lost him, we all mourn him. I wish he could have lived longer, because I know he was still strong enough to serve Mother Ghana for another 5 or 10 years. But nature and God loves him more than we do. We cannot regret, because he has done his due for this country. The only thing is that he has a legacy he has left behind. And the only thing we can pay to him is to try to appreciate him and to try to copy or follow his legacy. You are able to follow his legacy of being a team player, being a disciplinarian, and being an efficient lawmaker, somebody who is resilient and wants to contribute to the life of this country. That is the reason why I think that we have lost somebody. So my condolences will go to his family, the immediate family, the larger family, then his side of the house, the MPP, and Mother Ghana as a whole. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
Let me recognize Amjahi before I come to another leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity Mr. Speaker, as a young politician, when I entered this chamber, Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong was the majority leader and then the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs. As has been stated by the statement, Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong was very strict in whatever he does. And anytime we had committee of the whole, some of us will shout from, leader, do something before you die. And he will say, no, I don't want to die. Then we say, then do the needful. And you could see that he took his job very seriously and was very diligent in whatever he was doing. One particular thing that I want to emphasize was the fact that he didn't take it lightly from any minister who refused to attend to this house to respond to issues. He will not take it lightly. I remember at a point he had to even report some ministers to the presidency. And he even recommended that they should be sacked for disrespecting this house. So for him, when it comes to transacting business on this house, no partisan, no politics. He thought that we're doing the work of government, and for that matter, Ghanaians. And I know Honorable Chair is nodding because he's a disciple of Felix Owusu-Adjapong. And I'm sure that he has learned a lot because when he was the leader, I think Abraham Osedu was deputy. Osedu. Yeah, Osedu was deputy, and then he was the chief whip. At that time, we had the current Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Baben, as the minority leader, and then Joe Ajaho as the deputy, and then John Sia also was the whip. Yeah. Okay. So at that time, you could see, like my senior member said, when we came to Parliament, what is that?
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ajay Mensah of blessed memory. The daughter is in this chamber. The man was the deputy minority leader at the time. No, deputy get the record. Yeah, she was. Yes, so say so. Yes, you have to mention, if you are mentioning the name, mention it. Right. The daughter is here.
Mr. Speaker, I didn't say anything about Ajay Mensah because I didn't meet Honorable Ajay Mensah in Parliament. So you couldn't have been the deputy. Go and check your facts. We are showing respect
Honorable, he addressed me. Please ignore him and address me.
Even paying tribute to you are raising point of others. So, Mr. Speaker, when we came, we were all residing in hotels. I mean, the new entrants. We were residing in hotels for close to 6 months. Later, we were sent to Sakumono. And when we got there, there were no security. So, in one of these committee of the whole, we raised it. And quickly, the leader then, Felix, responded. And they organized security, the police, to provide day and night security at Sakumono. And so you could see from him that any matter concerning members of parliament, he will show interest and make sure that, like it was said, he was a result-oriented person. He will make sure that whatever he is doing, he will do it to the conclusion. And during his time, he made sure that any matter that was referred to committee members, or if you travel, whether outside or inside Ghana, when you come back, he will insist that you have submitted report on whatever you want out to do. So, and another thing that I remember he was always talking about the attrition of members of parliament in this house. The rate at which members, the senior members, experienced members were leaving this chamber, he was not happy with it. So, left to him alone, he was always talking that the majority parties, that is MPP and then the NDC, should do something about the attrition of members of parliament in this house so that we can continue to keep experienced, knowledgeable members of parliament in this chamber. So, Mr. Speaker, today that we are paying tribute to his memory, I want to express my sympathies to his wife, the family, and Ghana as a whole. He has paid his dues. He has done a lot. To conclude, I just want to say that at a point he wanted to become president of this country. When he was a leader and a minister for parliamentary affairs, he resigned at a point to contest the MPP presidential primaries, I think 2007. 2007. Then when he lost, he was lucky. President Kufuor appointed him again to the Ministry of Energy, and it was during the vetting, I asked him, what is he going to do within this short period, 8 months? And he told me that Jesus Christ was on this planet to serve for just few years, but we could see the legacy that he left. And so, even if he's given 1 month, he thinks that he will do something for Ghanaians to remember him anytime he's no more. So we can say he's quoted that analogy. All of us supported him. We gave him consensus approval, and he served in his last capacity as the Minister for Energy until MPP left office. So may his soul rest in perfect peace. Amen. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Amen. I see former General Secretary here, Dan Boche. He's gone out. Very well. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to join in eulogizing the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong by the majority leader. Mr. Speaker, I first learned of his passing from a Twitter message from the majority whip, Honorable Frank Anodombre, when he confirmed the death of the former leader of parliament on his Twitter page on Wednesday, October 4th, 2023, with the words, deep condolences to the family, former majority leader, Honorable Felix Owusu passed on. Ano is reported to have posted. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong, born February 13, 1944, was a respected Ghanaian politician, a former member of parliament of the New Patriotic Party, but a leader of the House. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong studied land economy at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi. He also studied housing planning and building at the Bonsentrum Institute in Rotterdam, urban land appraisal at the University of Reading, in law at the Ghana School of Law. Mr. Speaker, he was member of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana, and was first elected member of Parliament for Achim Swedru in 1996. Mr. Speaker, as I pay tribute to him, may I join in expressing profound sympathies and condolences to his immediate family, to the spouse and to the children, that Ghana have lost a statesman of a politician. Mr. Speaker, reading this paragraph in his tribute as paid by the leader, he talks about Felix's commitment to expand the numbers of then minority. Mr. Speaker, a lesson I learned as minority leader when the NDC was 106 members. There was a commitment by me as leader, together with Honorable Abeji. I still recall even instructing Honorable Whip, Muntaka and Ibrahim. One day I said, they should spend on some constituencies, in particular Owusu-Adjapong and New Edubiasi. Then the first retortion was, leader, our money is welfare money. And I said, no. beyond welfare, there must be a party, and there should be a strong party. And therefore, it was important for them to spend on it. A quiet lesson I learned from the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong, that he was uncompromising on non-compromising issues. There are issues that you have to compromise on, but there are matters that in the defense of government and government policy, you ought to stand strong and firm, even sometimes when that position was wrong. Even when that position was wrong, and in their heart they know it's wrong, but they have a commitment and a duty to defend government policy. A lesson we learned from Felix Owusu-Adjapong. And Mr. Speaker, after listening to the Honorable Ahi, one of the major lessons for which this House must honor him was to improve the lot of the Member of Parliament. Working to improve the lot of the Member of Parliament. We owe that to Felix Owusu and many others after him. Particularly when it comes to accommodation, Mr. Speaker. I still recall those days when the Honorable Member for Tolong, Honorable Razak, arrived in Accra. And Mr. Speaker, it was possible that some MPs were getting familiar with Accra only by virtue of the election to high office of MP. The Honorable Razak had to live with me for at least 2 years, even as Member of Parliament, until he could find his feet. Because, Mr. Speaker, our conditions of service, our facilities and privileges at the time in 1996 was not something desirable. Thanks to him and many others, we have worked to improve the lot of the MP. Even the vehicles MPs use were some second-hand, what's the name of the vehicle? The one on the Honorable Owusu-Adjapong and Co used some particular. It was not a Peugeot. It was a four-wheel. It was not Niva. Terrano, Mr. Speaker. Terrano at the time. But I'm saying that one of the foundations to work to improve the lot of the Member of Parliament, we owe it to the sacrifices and judgment of Felix Owusu-Adjapong. I know my colleague leader now, he won't die now, but at least in tribute to Felix Owusu-Adjapong, that you have worked to improve upon it. The best we can do, to his memory, Mr. Speaker, this committee on Article 71 office holders, it's about time that long before the transition of Parliament into the new Parliament, they work assiduously to make a determination of what we are deserving of as members of Parliament. And it's important that we always have at least an experienced Member of Parliament to serve on it. Then, Mr. Speaker, on the floor here, he was a very good negotiator. And that is what leadership needs to learn. There are some matters that we negotiate on. Some disclose here, some you are not able to disclose because you want results. The Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong was a very quiet, good negotiator. And he knew when the stakes was high, what to do and what not to do. That one, the Honorable Che, who has been one of the things you need to work to improve on. You are good at it, but when the stakes are high, you must know that the stakes are high. And negotiate well as a lesson learned from the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong. Then in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, abandoning our own lesson to learn. In fact, one day I got a quiet call from him. I didn't even know he was the one. My aide, Sule, reminded me that we're driving around Nuka Hill, heading towards the hotel there, the popular hotel, Fiesta Royal. Then my aide reminded me that, leader, you remember that Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong called you, requesting that if you have some time, he wanted to have some engagement with you. Mr. Speaker, believe it or not, even upon retirement, they took particular interest in the work of Parliament and what Parliament does. And I benefited from his wisdom. He told me that when I drive past the overhead, I should just look towards the left. I'll find where he lived for an engagement. It is important that we crossbreed for the good of our country. So, Mr. Speaker, we have lost, as his name was, a great leader. May his soul and the soul of the departed rest in perfect peace. But, Mr. Speaker, we should not, if you look at the state of former members of parliament, and Mr. Speaker, I hope that I can share this example as I pay tribute to him. One day, Mr. Speaker, whilst Professor Michael Quay was chairing a board of the Parliamentary Service Board that I served on with the Honorable Chair, a former member of parliament had made a request to the Speaker and said that he was ill and the state of his illness required some support financially. Mr. Speaker, the difficulty of Professor O'Kay that day was that, I'm sure he confided both in me and Chairman, was that, what is it that I can do lawfully within my remit as chairman of this board to help a former member of parliament? Mr. Speaker, he was constrained. So what is it that we can do that will strengthen the hand of the Speaker and the board? So probably even the Parliamentary Service Board, and I recall myself as leader traveling to Kenya, to the memory of Felix Owusu-Adjapong, we should improve it to become a parliamentary commission to serve not just the parliamentary service, but also members of parliament. Professor Okoye's dilemma was that, how much can I allocate to save the life of this member of parliament? Mr. Speaker, in the debate, Professor Okoye said, the person who was from the minority at the time, Professor Okoye said, oh, Honorable Haruna, I think that he needs support for a prostate-related sickness. So Professor Okoye generously said that, I will provide half. Can your caucus provide the additional half? Lo and behold, it took just days, and Chair announced to me that the said MP had passed on. I'm saying this because when it comes to our conditions of service, the public abuses us as if we are undeserving of what we get as a send-off. Mr. Speaker, many members of parliament, even before their exit, their ex gratia is held in lien over borrowing and loans that they have taken. So, to his memory, we should work together to improve the lot of the member of parliament and give unto ourselves what we are deserving as members of parliament. May his soul and the soul of the departed rest in perfect peace. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, Honorable Dr. you and I didn't meet him, but we heard of him. But if you want to make a comment generally, Albert.
Mr. Speaker, I must. One famous thing I remember is the day you were doing the famous elections in this house in 2005, 7th January. And that was the election between the late Honorable Sechiwis and the late Honorable Italajiti and Honorable Sechiwis. That was a very serious election that we those in the house were all glued to our TV and we're all watching. But Mr. Speaker, I want to make few comments because of what the leaders have said. I've listened to Honorable Ahi and listened to Honorable Cletus Avoka. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ahi said, the one said, Jesus Christ lived for a short time, but he left a legacy. So the legacy we in leadership should leave is where I'm going to start from. And it's good we are here and certain things are being said. Mr. Speaker, what should we also be remembered of? The question that he asked, who is the leader of this house, is still unanswered. And Mr. Speaker, in my 15 years in this house, this is the fourth or fifth or sixth leader of the house that we are making tribute of. Most of our leaders are going. The Honorable Kuntu Blanton, the Honorable J.H. Mensah. Yes. Kuntu, yes. Please come. Yes. No. The Honorable E.T. Mensah, not Kuntu Blanson. The Honorable J.H. Mensah, the Honorable Owusu-Adjapong, and the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong. Mr. Speaker, I just returned from Nigeria. Because they are practicing bicameral legislature, I met one MP, and he said he's been an MP for 25 years. And I said, oh, if you come to Ghana, we have, our leader of the house has been an MP for 28 years. I thought ours was enough, long enough. But this is what they do. The 25 years is not just a senator for 25 years. Because they practice two houses, he spends 16. After that, then he go and contest for the other house and spend another house there. So if you go there, they have experienced legislators. So when we are talking of the attrition rate in Ghana's parliament, Mr. Speaker, it is something we must work on. The great leader worked for you and I to get brand new cars to do this work. When the Honorable MP for Zebila said he was using Opel record to travel from here to Zebila, and it didn't last for 1 year. It didn't last for 6 months. Mr. Speaker, are we not our own enemies? We are. These are serious issues that leadership must put our heads together to make sure we address. But Mr. Speaker, the testimony which is being said by the great leader, there have been leaders in this house. Why is it that the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong, who did not even last for maybe 4 years, because along the line he went to the ministry as Minister for Energy, is still being remembered. Some has been leader for 16 years, others 20 years, others 4 years, others 2 years, but his short term is still being remembered. So we, the youth, have something to learn from it, Mr. Speaker, and it's a serious thing. Yes, but Mr. Speaker, he trained people like the current leader, because he was a chief whip under him. So we, those who have been privileged to be learning under him, must also take a cue from all the testimony that has been said here. There is much we need to learn. Thank God we now have a parliamentary training institute. Leader, once a leader, always a leader. We must make sure that people like the Honorable Kletus Avuka, Mr. Speaker, your good self, this Honorable Mutaka, Honorable Chemesa, Mr. Speaker, the investment that Ghana has invested in them, the social capital, the institutional memory cannot be quantified. But we couldn't make good use of the Honorable J.H. Mensah. We couldn't make good use of Honorable Owusu-Adjapong. We couldn't make good use of Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong. We couldn't make good use of Honorable Kobna J, the National Chairman of the National Democratic Congress. They are all gone. But we, the youth, if you look at the attrition rate now, Mr. Speaker, very soon we may not be able to protect the enviable reputation of the third and second parliament. Why is it that we are in a parliament, and when you are talking of best parliament, you are still mentioning the third and second? We cannot be relying on past glories. We must build institutions, and we must use the memory and the knowledge of the great leaders to hold this house together. Mr. Speaker, still, there are still things or issues to be attended to. And leader, the great leader is remembered not because he was protecting ministers. He was bringing them to the house. And that he was bringing ministers to the house. Leader, it is a good thing we must learn from him. Ministers must be delivered by the great leader. And when they hear that the leader of the house need you in the chamber, ministers must run. The leader of the house is primus inter pares, first among equal. He's first among equal. So it's not just an ordinary position. And therefore he qualifies to be a great leader, the leader of the house. Mr. Speaker, in the end, he survived. He was able to change certain things, and still he survived. Others lost. So the leader of the house position is primus inter pares. So, leader, Mr. Speaker, without wasting my time, I want to end here. May the soul of the Honorable Felix Owusu-Adjapong rest in peace. We've read about him, and we'll keep on reading about him. But there's much to do to protect his legacy. We must not just praise him and allow the legacy to go waste. We must put it into good use. And we are in critical time where we need to rely on his works. There must be a committee of the whole. And when the committee of the whole is done, you remember him by saying, leader, do something. But this leader will not die. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Do something today.
Yes, Deputy Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to bring a close to the comments on this very important matter. Mr. Speaker, a lot has been said, and we don't want to add to a superfluity. However, there is an important matter that has been raised by Honorable Ibrahim Ahmed regarding how we treat members of the House and senior members who retire from active parliamentary duties. So, Speaker, democracy is not cheap. Democracy is expensive. Recently, when some of us had the opportunity to visit the United States and were taken through some of their democratic institutions and the things they put in place to get their democracy to function, it came to the fore that we invest a lot of resources in them. Therefore, if somebody leaves this house, either as a committee chair, committee ranking, or a leader, we need some post-retirement resources to help such a person develop some experience platform where we can tap into long after he's left. For instance, Honorable Aveji, this man served as chair of Finance Committee. This man now serves as chair of the Public Account Committee. This man served as a deputy minority leader. Now, for all these years that he served, the experience he's gathered, he goes on retirement and writing his memo. Mr. Speaker, we need resource persons from Parliament to assist him. We need people to aid him. We need a center that would be responsible solely for handling such a thing, so that people who would come in have that in hand to learn from. Mr. Speaker, you are here as First Deputy Speaker. The experience you have, I'm sure that, you know, when you retire and you are in Bekwai, Speaking of an elephant, Mr. Speaker, tribute to Felix. You need somebody around you, resource persons, to get some information for the younger generation. Mr. Speaker, tribute to Felix. Messi, who is seated right here. Sometimes when I sit here, the kind of things that I learned from him, he picks the Constitution. Mr. Speaker,
Sit down.
he picks the Constitution. And without opening the Constitution, he knows where to turn. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker,
Proceed.
he picks the Constitution. Honorable Chairman Sabonso, the majority leader, and he is the mercy of this house. And you know,
Mercy of Ghana's Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, somebody was a great leader. He is a mercy, and we know that as a fact. Mr. Speaker, he picks the Constitution without opening. He knows which article to refer to, and I'm learning a lot from him. He's not done anything in writing about his experience. And we have to encourage him. Honorable Kumbo, who was my professor at the law school, he's left. We learned a lot from him. Honorable E.T. Mensah,
He will call us the backbenchers before committee meeting. He will spend about an hour lecturing you on the politics of this house. And he would not make any distinction between an NDC and MPP. Mr. Speaker, Hajia Bufero. Mr. Speaker, I would want to share something that Hajia Bufero said. Mr. Speaker, when we came into office, she called me into her office and said, Afenyo, looking at the way things are going, you may be part of your leadership. I want to share something with you. I said, Madam, go ahead. Then she was like, you know, the chocolate and the interior that I used to share. There were times that you people were stubborn. You in particular. So I will call you that come and eat lunch. By the time you come, everything is gone. These are things that you will not learn in any classroom. This is politics. Engagement without any violence. No debate. You are enjoying your chocolate and things are happening. All are part of democracy. If this woman writes this and shares this, you will be a whip and you learn something from it. How to engage without offending your colleague. Mr. Speaker, so this statement that has come to this house, in memory of our respected great leader, to me is a wake-up call. A wake-up call for us as a parliament to dedicate a vote for nurturing the young ones through the experience of those great ones who have come to make their mark in this house. We shouldn't want them to die before we come out with beautiful speeches that would have no effect. What have we tapped from the library of Honorable Ajay of blessed memory? Mr. Speaker, I used to come here as a student, and anytime I see Madam Elizabeth Owusu-Adjapong, I tease her that your dad inspired me. I will come and sit here and watch them debate. The Akufo-Addos, the Papa Owusu-Ankama, the Do-Ajawos. I was enjoying the debate. Your dad had a way of resolving matters in this floor. Because I was fond of her dad. Oh, that's my big sister, my auntie, what interest. I'm saying that I was fond of his dad, of her dad. And that's why I'm talking so much. Because I will sit here. So, Mr. Speaker, just to conclude, let us not wait for them to die before we come with tributes. While they are even alive, today we are privileged to have Honorable Cletus Aboka, a former leader who is back into this chamber. What are we doing to aid him to share his experience with others? And Mr. Speaker, lastly, what I've realized is that in this chamber, you are always on your own. You are always on your own. You come here as a backbencher. There is no plan to mentor you. There's no plan to aid you to grow. We should have a system. We should have a system. Which system will create a deliberate effort to help young parliamentarians develop interest in parliamentary business. Whenever we are considering bills, we know the number of MPs who stay in the chamber. People get in here with high hopes, great dreams, but they come in and they see themselves in a thick forest because there is nobody to help guide them.
You should be.
So, Mr. Speaker, I would want to thank you and say that we should not make this a mere talk. We should walk the talk and create a system to help grow parliamentary democracy. I thank you so much indeed.
Yeah.
Very well, colleagues. Today we mourn a great leader. Very soon, some of us, I'm looking at those with gray hair, gray beard and things, they will soon to be their turn to be mourned in the house. But one thing that has come out from all this discussion is that as MPs, we live for all others whilst we are in office. But nobody lives for an MP when he leaves office. You are left with your family and your own investment if you did. If Parliament has a way of planning something for retired MPs, from the experience I've had in the last few years that I've been in leadership, the number of MPs who are in need of medical attention for which they have no resources. So Parliament should look at taking some steps to protect the retiring MPs from here. On that note, honorable members, Leader, did we observe a mini silence for him the last time? We did. Very well. So, may we just say that the soul of the great leader and all the departed souls rest in peace. Thank you. Yes, Chief Weku.
Speaker, shall we go on to order paper addendum? Order paper addendum, Speaker. We are laying all of the items published.
Yes. Order paper addendum.
Yes.
At the commencement of public business, laying of reports by the chairman of the Committee of Public Accounts. Yes, Chairman, you may add, you may lay your reports.
Reports of the Public Accounts Committee on the reports of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana, public boards, corporations, and other statutory institutions for the period ended 31st December 2021. Reports of the Public Accounts Committee on the reports of the Auditor General on the public accounts of Ghana, ministries, departments, and other agencies of the central government for the year ended 31st December 2021. Reports of the Public Accounts Committee on the reports of the Auditor General on the management and utilization of the District Assembly's Common Fund and other statutory funds for the year ended 31st December 2021. Reports of the Public Accounts Committee on the reports of the Auditor General on the accounts of the District Assemblies for the financial year ended 31st December 2021.
All the four reports are duly laid. They are for distribution to members.
Speaker, may we revert to the original order paper and go on to page 6 and take item 7E. Item 7E, Speaker, it is the Right Honourable Speaker's Committee. He chairs the committee, and I seek your leave to do the laying for and on his behalf.
Very well. Item 7E by the chairman of the committee.
Report of the Committee of Selection on the recomposition of the membership of some committees of the House.
Very well, honourable members. I'm advised that there was a purportedly laid report. So, by this new one, the previous one is deemed withdrawn. So, the report is duly laid and is is for distribution to members. Yes, Leader.
Speaker, page 11 on same order paper, page 11, item 11. Speaker, would again seek your leave, if I may, take it for the chair of the committee.
Yes, minority bench.
Mr. Speaker, we don't have any objection to that.
Very well. Motion then by the chairman of the committee.
Speaker, I rise to move that this Honourable House approves the report of the Committee of Selection on the recomposition of the membership of some committees of the House. Speaker, in so doing, I present the committee's report and invite Answer to capture the entirety of the report, while I limit myself to just some portions of the report. Speaker, during the second meeting of the third session, His Excellency the President appointed some members of Parliament as ministers and deputy ministers of state. The by-election at Kumewu constituency saw the election of the Honourable Ernest Enim, whilst the one at Asin not re-elected, Honourable James Quaison. Again, changes in the leadership of the minority group occasioned some gaps in the leadership of our committees of the House. Yes. Speaker, the committee accordingly requests a report for adoption by the House and approval of the attached lists of the membership of the selected committees as proposed in Appendix 1 and 2. Respectfully submitted. Speaker, thank you.
Yes, Ranking.
Mr. Speaker, we do have consensus on this. I don't think there's need for any debate, so we can put a question. Before kindly asking you to just put a question.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and seconded for the consideration of the House. Yes, Honourable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I believe that a lot of consultations have gone on. A lot of consultations have gone on behind the curtains before the Committee on Selection arrived at this decision and conclusion to have this report submitted to the House. Mr. Speaker, I just want to advise colleagues Mr. Speaker, I just want to caution colleagues that this Committee on Selection is chaired by Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament. So any adverse comments on it really amounts to a challenge of the Speaker. So I'll plead with colleagues, we should take it as it is and move on as quickly as possible. That, Mr. Speaker, is in the lighter vein. Just to emphasize the point that a lot of consultations have gone on, and in that regard, I'll plead with us that we don't spend too much time litigating the bolts and nuts of this. The Speaker, ultimately, I believe the leadership have done quite a good job. And let's move on. Speaker, thank you.
Honourable members, the question is all in favour of the House adopting the motion. Say aye. Aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Yes.
Speaker, having exhausted business as was earlier agreed,
Speaker, I was going to submit a plea to you to allow the presentation of papers listed under item 7 Item 7.
Yes, which papers, please? Yes, Leader, if I may specific ones on item 7.
The Speaker, so we start with 7A, B, C, and then D. The others are by committee chairs. So we can deal with 7A, B, C, and D.
Very well. Honourable members, item 7A, presentation of papers by the Minister for Land and Natural Resources.
Speaker, especially I want to present the paper on behalf of the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, who is outside the jurisdiction.
Very well, you may proceed.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Minerals Commission for the year 2022.
The report is duly presented, is referred to the Committee on Lands and Natural Resources to consider and report. Item 7B by the Minister for Health.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Nurses and Midwives Training College, Tamale, for the year 2022.
The report is duly presented, is referred to the Committee on Health to consider and report. Item 7C by the Minister for Trade and Industry.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ministry of Trade and Industry for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ghana Enterprises Agency for the year 2022. Exports and imports, restrictions on importation of selected strategic products, regulations 2023.
Yes, Leader.
Speaker, the Minister has done C, Roman number 1, and Roman number 2. He's standing down C, Roman number 3.
Very well. So, the papers itemized as item C, Roman 1 and Roman 2 are hereby laid, and they are referred to the Committee on Trade and Industry to consider and report. Item D by the Minister for Local Governance and Decentralization and Rural Development. Honourable Leader, is the Minister available?
Speaker, I would want to do so on his behalf. He's not available.
Very well.
That's for D.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ebura Asebu Kwamankesi District Assembly for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ghana East Municipal Assembly for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ayawaso West Municipal Assembly for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Boku West District Assembly for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ayawaso East Municipal Assembly for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Adan East District Assembly for the year 2022. Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Akachi South Municipal Assembly for the year 2022.
The reports are duly presented, and they are referred to the Committee on Local Governance, Decentralization and Rural Development for consideration and report. Yes, Honorable Majority Leader, any more?
Mr. Speaker, just to emphasize the point that what I did in respect of item 7C, Roman number 3, is to stand that one down for further engagement. So it's not going to come anytime soon, until after the engagement, until after the consultations have been concluded.
Yes, I only announced that item C, I, and II have been laid, not III.
Mr. Speaker, it was just for the awareness of doubt.
Very well. Now it's still within your remit, so I'll take a motion from the House.
The Speaker, the E, yes, was done earlier, before the presentation of the report. It ought to have been done, and I believe it was done before the consideration of the report from the Committee of Selection.
Yes, the E has been done and the motion taken already.
That's what I want to emphasize.
Yes.
The Speaker, having said so, I would want to move that this House takes an adjournment until tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the forenoon. Speaker, there are some outstanding matters relating to some bills that the House has passed, and we're having some discussions on. I have to see the Speaker and then have some consultation with them. And if space allows it, then we may have to take them tomorrow. But I have to have this engagement with the Speaker on it. Having said so, the Speaker, to reiterate the point that I made and the motion that I moved, that the House takes an adjournment until tomorrow 10 o'clock in the forenoon. I so move.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion for adjournment.
Honourable members, the motion for adjournment has been moved and seconded. All in favour of the House adopting the motion for adjournment, say aye. All against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow, Wednesday, December 6, 2023, at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.